it's such a lovely day. I think I'll just go up on this hillside and keep an eye out for any kind of trouble. Oh my god. Oh my god, the wereshark! Ah! Guys! The wereshark's coming! Ah! 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 Hello, traveler, and welcome to Wake and Bake News. And I'm your dungeon master, Shampoo VTA, Kelly Davis. Welcome and beware. Oh, it's like being a kid. I'm going through two experiences doing this whole. This is my setup, okay? I'm not crazy. And yeah, I am playing with toys. But this is my setup for the adventures. Um, you know, I'm going to use these materials to set up the scene for when we head down the coastline to Rapan-Athuk. Okay, so it sounds like they're going to take wagons and stuff, and so we're going to need a camp. So I made me a little camp here and some tents, little crappy tents. And I used this, I got all these ideas from YouTube. There's a bunch of guys on there. I'll show you how to make, like the next part I have to make is a whole little cellar, dungeonette type thing, right? And I need a red dragon and I need something to represent the ocean and stuff again. So I'll probably be using this plexiglass things because this is a swath of property, land. This is off subject, but like this is supposed to be the sort of oak trees, hilly area, beach, and coastal road over there. So they'll probably look for camp somewhere in a wooded area, and there's wooded areas back away from the coast, behind the hills. But of course, when they go there, they risk encounters. And so I've made like, just an example, spider nest, right? So here's the spider nest in the trees, and they appear at night when they're asleep in their little sleeping, areas in their tents. And then I made some web shoots. So they shot you with the webs, and they're coming to get you, and then you roll to see if they make their hit and stuff like that. So I have it at levels, or if characters want to get up in a tree to do fighting. I really like this where it was at different levels. I thought that was great. Uh, I also picked a piece of cloth that had sort of a grid, a grid pattern in it, and that would help us to be able to, so we don't have to have like a hex map down or a grid map. It looks a little more like, okay, I get it. Like these things I cut, as you can see, into 1 inch, right? And I just got this over at the dollar store. I'm gonna go get some more and cut them into 1 inch squares, but they're perfect because they're like almost exact 1 inch squares, and that's exactly what you need. So like for the trees, I drew 1 inch squares on the cardboard, then started just gluing down cork, see, cork bottle things. I bought a big bag at the thrift store, and then just used some cardboard from the trash to make the trees and the roots, and did a little painting because I just got some shitty paints at the dollar store. So it's not like super fancy, but it definitely, certainly to me, it's starting to, I think it helps to get people into the mood. Like my husband was saying to me that he did all this in his imagination when he was a teen. So did I. We didn't have grids and lead figures. You couldn't fucking afford a bunch of lead figures. You'd have to buy one for each character. They were like fucking $5 a piece. Or pewter figures. They cost a fucking fortune, you know. So you would have to kind of just futz it or draw it on a piece of paper or something. I really do like the diorama guys. And especially having spent 25 years working in elementary schools, I've seen a few dioramas in my time. So I think it's a really neat way to explain movement rates and attacks and who gets what turn, and that it's a game. It's like a chess game. You know, the spiders come and get you, right? So they're going to make an attack from the tree, so they have to roll, and then their movement rate will take them down. Like you have to guess how many steps down they're going to be able to. So let's say this is, 15 feet or something like that. So you just guesstimate whatever this is going to represent and how long that'll take them to jump on you and sink their fangs into you. Now, in the other table, I'll show you, I have a encampment. I've been working on this one. Took me the longest. Yeah, I'll pull you back here so you can see what I've done. Now, I've just used some cloth and pieces of styrofoam to create the hill area. And then they're selling all this Halloween stuff, so I just grabbed that, to make, say, sand dunes, the beach, right? Coastal roads, just some paper. I don't think it'll reach. Wait. I have to fix it. I'm sorry, bad camera work with that. So shaky. Okay, so this is all a piece of cardboard and paper bags and dirt and glue. And then a little shitty dollar store paint I just threw on stuff. And like the flames and stuff, I got that idea in the fish from online, how to make those. That's just paper and glue. And this is that stuff that you got in the shower, you just use, like, these are Q-tips that you just kind of stick in gluey water, and then you let them dry so they look like a flame and paint them. Bingo, huh? I like this one. I think that's going to be really exciting. I'm looking forward to running that. Okay, so let's put you down here. Let's see what you can see. Oh yeah, you can see me. And you can see my were shark in the foreground moving closer to their encampment. Where are they? Those motherfuckers screwed up my plan. Okay. So I got a couple of stories. The one that came up yesterday was that there's a hospital here. I'm not going to really talk about it too much because I want like full confirmation that this is actually going to happen, not just, oh, we're thinking about it. But there is a hospital here in California that's thinking about allowing medical cannabis into their hospital. And I told my husband this is kind of a non-story because my husband used to work for the hospital, and people don't realize how many things are already going on. There's already a doctor that goes in the hospitals and gives people cannabis treatments in the hospital, and they're designated to do that. It's already happening. It's like before people started to really talk about euthanasia, I'm sorry, but it was kind of happening because when a person's dying of cancer and you're giving them a whole bunch of opioids, it's not too hard for them to just go, well, I'll just stop drinking water and just keep taking these opioids until I blissfully drift away. So even just because somebody's not talking about it or it's illegal or whatever, doesn't mean that it hasn't been going on, Isn't this cool? I'm going to just play with this. The other thing I was going to say about this, okay, is that doing this. It reminds me of going to the train shop with my dad. My dad used to drag us to the model shop all the time because he was building tanks and he was painting little soldiers, little tiny soldiers. Ever since I was a little kid, going to model shops and seeing those boxes of the little lead figurines and going, oh, that's neat, but it's all war stuff. It's all like, man, oh, yeah, tank, that's cool. You'd see guys like crawling in the mud. You could make this diorama of a guy in the tranks and all this stuff, tanks, whatever, in the treads. And I was just like, yeah, that's cool and everything, but man. And it was boring. I'm like, oh, we're going to the model shop again. I wish they had something I was interested in. And then one day, they had these lead figures hanging up that were dwarves and wizards and stuff. And I was like, hey, what's this, Dad? And he's like, oh, that's for that game, Dungeons and Dragons. I'm like, what's Dungeons and Dragons? And next thing I know, my dad had the books and he was trying to teach us to play. And he got very frustrated. My dad's super smart. So he got very frustrated. We weren't very good at teamwork right off the bat. And he wasn't sure, how he wasn't a dungeon master. He just went, oh, I'll do this. He's a smart guy, but dungeon mastering is you're fucking with people's emotions. This ain't for the faint of heart, man. You gotta have a sense of humor about it and keep people from getting their feelings hurt, or people become very invested in these characters they worked hard on. If you're, they don't, not everybody insists that their character lives forever, but you certainly would like to see them have a good death, not something stupid that's embarrassing. You know, Personally, I like the experience of having a little bit of party dissent is fun. Oh, shut up, phone! You never have anything interesting to say. Okay, so let's see. The other story that I will just touch on is that somebody finally. Oh, shut up. Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
This call is officially a final notice from IRS.
No, it isn't.
Internal Revenue Service.
Such a lie.
The reason of this call is to inform you that IRS is filing lawsuit against
This
you.
is a scam.
To get more
You know that,
information
right?
about this case
And
file,
it's been going on
please
all over
call
the place,
immediately
and
on our
somehow
department
nobody
number,
can stop it.
318.
I don't know why we have
554.
phones. We've already had the
9987.
sheriff's department and stuff tell people, or the police in this area,
318.
don't answer these calls
554.
because it's a scam. The IRS would never call you
Thank you.
voice like this. We've talked about it, but I mean, it is constant. It is constant. I don't even know why in the hell we own the phone. And then they're like, hey, you could buy a service that will keep all this from happening. You know what'll keep all this from happening? Me just pulling the fucking cord out of the wall. Boom! They're gone. No more portal to hell in my home. People don't even call me anymore. Most of the time, they're just like sitting on their computer on Steam and they go, oh, Kelly's on. They're not even like calling. That's kind of like, that's for all the older people in our family. My parents call me. His mom calls us. Occasionally, my brothers call us. But most of the time, it's, hey, Kelly's on the internet. Who uses a fucking phone anymore? It's just a business thing and it drives me nuts. I wish it wasn't even in this room with me. I wish it was like in another building far away and I'll go look at the messages occasionally, but I don't want it near me anymore because it's just so aggravating. So the other story I was going to tell you about is somebody has finally done a video explaining on YouTube, which was trending at the top this weekend, about the food pyramid, which I've talked about. How drug scheduling is so much like the food pyramid. I mean, why did we have so much government cheese to hand out for people? During the 1970s when we were in a recession then, it's because that's the way you subsidize farmers. Well, I would argue that the drug scheduling system is the way you subsidize pharmaceutical companies. Okay, so there's a video explaining the food pyramid. It was trending, so I'll put a link to it. But it was really good. It was by Cracked, and I was like, exactly. And I learned this quite a few years ago because my mom, actually worked in food services. She wasn't a cook or anything. She ordered the food, so she dealt with the vendors. But anyway, she's like office manager. But like, she explained it to me, and so did all the cafeteria employees because you go to their parties and stuff. You talk to them all the time, and the teachers and the educators, people teaching kids how to flip and eat and healthy. Do you end up standing around talking to all these people? And so when the food pyramid was being changed from the stupid black one with the different levels, they were like, oh yeah, because the thing is a nightmare. Have you ever really looked at it? I never even really thought about it. As a kid, I just thought, yeah, the food pyramid. It's healthy eating. There we go. You know, I had no clue that the government would actively go, sugar's great for your kids. Go ahead, eat whatever you want, which is what that old food pyramid said. It said that you could pretty much eat whatever you wanted as long as you ate these healthy things included in that. And that means that when they would have breakfast cereal commercials, right? The way this works is the FDA never allows studies that find out anything conclusively. They only allow studies that would find out things that were, inconclusive. So all the studies on for sugar for kids for years, all through the 70s and 80s and early 90s was, oh no, oh well, maybe it's bad for kids. Well, no, that's an old saying. It was like eggs. Eggs are bad. Eggs are good. Eggs are bad, right? So back in the old days, they were like, this breakfast cereal is part of a healthy breakfast. And the reason they could say that was because the FDA very carefully okayed studies that, of course, the lobbies for corn syrup and sugar were pushing for that would have it inconclusive if this was unhealthy. That's why for so many years people were eating this shit and not realizing how bad it was for them, because those were inconclusive studies. So when you look at the food pyramid, remember, they do this with a lot of shit. We had that terrorist color stupid shit. And I mean, who dreams up this? Who dreams this shit up? Because they fudge it. It sounds good, but when you really start looking at it, you start going, wait a minute, this really kind of doesn't make sense. Oh no, it makes sense because we say so. No, man, it's not because you say so anymore. It's not because you say so anymore. Right? You're going to have to prove it to people, you know. All right. So I'll put a link to that video about the food pyramid. And when you see it, please think about this drug scheduling thing. That I would argue it's very similar to that. Or that asinine terrorist fucking color coding warning thing. We're at level orange. We're at level puce. I mean, I don't know what the fuck. What idiot comes up with that shit? You know? Okay. So now, my second, or my real story, the first video I'm going to show you is Hillary Clinton dying on radio. Yes, I'm afraid she's passed on. Have you noticed all the flags are at half staff today? I'm sorry. I happen to notice because I'm really not paying attention. She's won the election. We're moving on now. Okay, but it's silly season and it's come early, and it's in September apparently. But they're talking about how she has like pneumonia, and so now she's like dying, and I don't know, unqualified for some reason because she's a person that came into work sick. I don't know what the problem is. But here she is on this really cool radio station or interview, and they're talking to her, and they actually ask, she's coughing, and this guy goes, "Dang man, sounds like you've been hitting on that medical," and she goes, "Well, I could use it, because she's suffering from pneumonia." And it would help open her air passages and stuff. So she must have. I mean, she's making a joke, but she also it gave me the impression that she wouldn't make such a joke if she didn't have some understanding that some people are benefited by this.
That we have to address. Excuse me. Sorry.
It's okay.
Allergy season.
That's a
You
killer.
all right?
How do you guys do it?
Any mouth? You all right? You all right?
Did you just try to kiss?
Senator, you coughing like you had some medicinal.
Yeah, I need some. Excuse me.
Oops, sorry, were shark. There you go. Stand up there, pal. There's my little were shark. Okay, so I thought that was just really funny, and plus it shows that, I mean, Hillary Clinton's fine. She's not dying. The reports were like, and then now she's keeping it a secret, her health. Okay, whatever. News report. Woman gets sick on the job and still goes to work. The news at 10, you know. I thought it was funny. And I also thought it was interesting because it kind of brings up how many times have women had to go to work even though their kids got the flu or something like that? That you just can't keep giving the excuse of, well, my husband's job pays more than mine does, so I have to make sure he keeps his job and risk losing mine, so I'm the one who has to go home and take care of the kid. How many women have to go through that? So I think it garnered a lot of sympathy for Hillary Clinton and women overall, because notice it's like, well, she's sick. That shows she's weak. She's at work, dude. All right? If it was you, you'd be at home fucking crying for somebody to bring you fucking hot milk or some shit. Alrighty. I use my miasma, which means apparently a mist. It's my magical miasma of marijuana smoke. And it appeases the were shark. And he decides to return them. Now I wouldn't be like, you guys went and fucked up my plan. Ah, rah, rah, rah. Okay, so next story is polling in California. The polling's tightening up. It always does at this time. Here's what's going on. You always get super positive polling running up to something, but then as the opponents come out and spend a little money and get their talking points in, you always shave off a few people. It's gonna happen. That's politics, okay? Don't be mad at them. They just got convinced the other way for whatever reason that is theirs. You go, thanks for playing, play again soon. You don't get mad about it, you know. But the point is that you try to keep as many of those voters as you can and fight till the very end, because the more of them you have, the more of a mandate. And this is now turned from will it pass to how popular is it? Okay. So you had KPBS or somebody coming out recently with a poll where they questioned everybody in California, and they said 70% of California supports marijuana legalization, cannabis regulation, correct, for recreational use. And then they go, oh, but please remember, we're polling everyone in the state, not just likely voters or people that are likely to go vote on that day, or registered voters. But then they turn around and they produce another, someone else produces another poll, and now it's 58% supporting. So the news comes out and goes, support is dropping heavily. Support is plummeting. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Truth is that the 64% support, if you really think about it, there has to be a 5% margin. That would put you about 58. That's still almost 60% support. Who knows what will actually turn out on election day? Because once those numbers start racking up on election day, and it looks like it's going to pass, you'd be surprised how many people will go, well, I might as well vote for it. I'll be a part of history. The numbers actually start to go up at that moment because people realize this thing's winning. Now, I was thinking I'm going to do a live show for election night, but it might be short because those idiots usually don't announce what's going on with the different propositions till like the next day or something like that. So we may be sitting there looking at nothing and not be able to find out right away, even though, or they will be covering it. It depends, really. I've been through both situations where you had to wait till the next day and they announce it in the newspaper. And I've been through other situations where it's like, oh, Colorado's proposition passed with flying colors. You know what I mean? So it depends on if the news is going to cover it or not. We'll see. The miasma. There's a fog in this valley. I think this looks good. I'm real happy with. I made a couple of these little fire places with just some toothpicks, and this is hot glue. And you just like kind of let it dry and pull it up with a toothpick so it looks like flame, and paint it with the yellow and red, and boom, boom. There you go. You should see the stuff they do online. It looks fun. I mean, they got glowing pillars and all kinds of cool stuff. It's really neat. They use like little tea lights to make the campfire glow. Like I could take this and do the same thing over a tea light, and then the flame in the center would glow when you turned on the tea light. It looks so cool. All right, so I'll read the story about what's going on with the poll numbers, but you know, this it's silly season. 8 weeks until election time. Nothing anyone can do in 8 weeks. I mean, unless the sky literally falls. The likelihood is things will pass. Things can still happen, but the mathematical chances anything will diminishes seriously. 52% of California voters surveyed by the Survey USA support Proposition 64, the proposed measure that would allow for recreational adult use in the state, according to the report. Pictured a pedestrian walks past a neon sign advertising California medical cannabis provider along a street in Sherman Oaks section of Los Angeles in 2010. Polls. California marijuana legalization expected to pass. Cannabis.com. California marijuana legalization is trending favorably among voters, two polls released this week shows. 52% of California voters surveyed by Survey USA supports Proposition 64, the proposed measure that would allow for recreational adult use sales in the state, according to the Orange County Register report. A second poll conducted by USC Dorn Seif and the Los Angeles Times showed that 58% of the state's voters favored the legalization measure, and that the support spanned most lines of age, race, income, and gender, the Los Angeles Times reported. The 27-question Survey USA poll released Monday by the Southern California News Group and KABC Eyewitness News included the following questions. Currently, medical cannabis is legal in California, but recreational cannabis is not. Proposition 64 would legalize and tax recreational use of cannabis. Will you vote yes on Proposition 64, which would legalize the recreational use of cannabis by adults aged 21 and older, and which would license, regulate, and tax the cannabis industry? Or will you vote no on 64, which would keep state laws as they are now? 52% said yes, 40 said no, 8% undecided, and 0 not sure. The majority of the Survey USA questions focused on the 2016 presidential race and how California voters viewed candidates such as Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton, Republican nominee Donald Trump, as well as third-party candidates such as Gary Johnson and Jill Stein. No, Hillary's got the state by 25 points over Donald Trump in the presidential election right now. The LA Times poll results shows that 34% of the 1,879 survey respondents opposed Proposition 64, and 8% declined to respond. Okay, so of the supporters, the measure is doing best among the younger voters, 67%, and 50% of voters 64 years and older. In 2010, the last time California voted for pot legalization, nearly 54% of voters opposed the measure. Some of the change appears to have come from the ability of Californians to watch what has happened in other states that legalize recreational cannabis use: Colorado, Washington, Oregon, and Alaska. And John Cohen, an executive for the SurveyMonkey, the firm that conducted the USC Dornsife LA Los Angeles Times poll, blah, blah, blah. Some of the clematis predictions, okay, the bad predictions of legalization opponents haven't come to pass in other states, Cohen said. So, they kind of blew up the balloon too big, and now it popped in their face. They were like, oh, the boogeyman's coming, people will become like undead zombies, and this is not what happened. And he rolls an attack on you. Ah, he's got you. He's biting you. Ah, you're down. Oh no. Your friend comes and casts a spell. Psh, like an ice storm or some shit. Magic missile. I gotta make some kind of magic missile thing I can put there. Maybe like with the stand. Have magic missiles flying up, magic missiles flying sideways. I could probably do it with hot glue. I'll make them look like they're like shooting at him, so I can set it in the square. Like, here's your spell being cast, So, boo! Hit this guy with magic missiles. Ah! I killed the spider. Oh, your friend is hurt. Oh, I gotta get up there and heal him. Dungeons and Dragons is fun. Except you're supposed to be rolling dice to decide all this. I'm just playing like a little kid would. Like I said, it reminds me so much of the model store. When my dad used to drag me over to the model store. I used to have little army men. I'd do little things with them, make little stories and shit. It was fun. Oops. Oh, knocked over my were shark. Oops. Oops. There he is. He went to hit 2 off the pipe. Let's give the were shark a hit. He's in camp. He's feeling quite sedated by the halfling smoke. There he is. He's taking his hit. Oh man, it was too much for him. He didn't make his roll. He's asleep. He's overdosed on the cannabis. Everyone's safe now. The miasma of cannabis was successful. All right, so, oh my goodness, I have to get up again. I can't see. My next story is way over here. Oh yeah, here we go. Okay, so this is again. Here, where are we? Ah, I'm squishing way down. So, this is a story by Variety. Okay, and they're talking about all the weed shows, the cannabis shows that are coming out, like Mary Jane, and also there's what is it? Vice has this whole weed show where the guy goes around and it's kind of like documentary style and stuff like that. And John Malkovich has got a new show coming out, and oh my gosh, there's the lady actress whose name is jumping right out of my head. Anyway, she was the one who tied up the writer she liked and then broke his ankles. She's going to be in a show where she owns a dispensary. She's like an old, activist that has been fighting for legalization, and now here it comes, and she's got her dreams coming true with the dispensary and how she's handling it and everything. Hubby home. So here's that. I'll let you check that out. It looks amazing. Lots of nice content to entertain me. I'm very happy. And the Dungeons and Dragons stuff, I'm really enjoying that. I'm watching lots of shows of gaming, and I kind of fucking like it. People are funny, and it is entertaining. Hey, honey, I'm doing some porn.
You were talking. I thought you were doing.
No, I'm doing my show. Yeah, I
Show.
got my
Oh,
camera
okay.
set up here. uh, I found these new Takis zombie. They're terrible. They're habanero and cucumber, but I can't stop eating them. They're green. Takis. 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 I love these chips. They're addicting. Okay. This is Variety. TV goes to pot. Oh, thanks, Variety. Marijuana themed. It's cannabis, thank you. Cannabis themed series lights up the small screen. Cannabis is having a moment in American culture. That didn't sound at all like they don't like this, huh? Will recreational pot use now legal in Alaska, Colorado, Oregon, and Washington, California, or Arizona, Nevada, Maine, Massachusetts vote on recreational use in November? It's a trend reflected in popular entertainment. 3 TV series devoted to the subject air within the next month. HBO's New York set High Maintenance, which bows September 16th. What? Bows September 16th began as a web series in 2012. Both iterations of the show follow an unnamed pot delivery man series co-creator Ben Sinclair as he peddles his products to new clients each week. I've seen that. That looks actually really good. MTV's Los Angeles set Mary and Jane, which launched September 5th, followed pot what are they trying to say? Entrepreneurs. They make, you know what? They work in the cannabis business. Why do we gotta make up stupid freaking names and shit? Okay, so it's Paige, Scott Durwood, and Jordan Jessica Roth. Apparently run a cannabis delivery service, whatever the entrepreneurs or whatever these idiots are trying to come up with. It's like, no, thank you. I'm not going to play Scrabble with you today. What the hell is wrong with you? Okay, we had the idea for this 2 years ago, and it seemed like the kind of uncharted territory, says Harry Elfront. Yeah, kinda. I wonder why. Co-creator of Mary and Jane, with Deborah Kaplan. Can't hardly wait. Snoop Dogg, executive producer, when we told people it was about girls with a weed delivery business, the only reference point was weeds. Now it feels like weed is everywhere on television. Plus, yeah, not every show is Breaking Bad or Weeds. That was during Prohibition. You had to explain the stories of what was happening to normal people. That's what those shows were for. The Wire, all that stuff was to get people to see what was happening so they could begin to talk about a solution. Stupid zombie talkies. Okay. Do you want a shady guy or a cute girl showing up with your weed? Kaplan says. Elfront says MTV has been supportive of the series and its content. Certainly, there are some restrictions which content, ratings, and they've been very open in terms of what we can show in terms of smoking. He says, we did get a note recently that the dog on the show can't get high. I think that might be a PETA thing. But that's really been the real restriction. Okay, question. Does PETA think they're really smoking marijuana on the show while they're filming it? Or does this mean they really are smoking marijuana on the show while they're filming it and PETA's like, keep the animals away from what does PETA think is going on right now? Okay. Robert, some advertisement's trying to come through. Robert Thompson, well, we hear you. We hear your voice screaming out from the bowels of hell, you poor trapped spirit. I silence your pain. All right. Robert Thompson, director of Syracuse University Blair Center of Television and Popular Culture, says TV's relationship with pot has come a long way since the anti-marijuana stance of Dragnet in the 1960s. Yes, if you haven't seen, they were having a pot party, and this lady decided at the same time to give her child a bath, her baby, who drowned in the bathtub because she was so busy enjoying the pot party. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. We're not fucking morons. And then it's like, if only I had not ingested marijuana, I would not have ignored my child and let them drown in the bathtub. No, you're a fucking idiot. And marijuana probably had nothing to do. It's a dumb story made up for a stupid TV series. Okay, television was never good at pushing the envelope. It didn't do any Vietnam shows until the Vietnam War was over. It didn't reflect the women's movement in any way until much later, but it was always good at licking envelopes, he says, crediting medical cannabis with the pot legitimization. Even though there aren't that many states where it's completely legal, once it's legalized somewhere in the United States, it really does a number on the whole sin aspect of it. Who, those are the envelope pushers, and then pop culture was ready to lick those envelopes by their normalization of it. Like, what are you talking about licking envelopes? Seriously. What are they doing over at Variety? They have a weird way of writing. Let's see. I'm trying to make the page stop jumping around. Jump, jump, jump. Okay. Kishna Andavul, host of Viceland, Weedy Kit, whose second season bowed August 31st. Like, what the hell does bowed mean? Okay, says many of the news magazine style shows stories fly in the face of pot stereotypes. What I found with this one particular story about kids with cancer is that it's not Cheech and Chong stuff. He says, when you peer into people's lives affected by marijuana, especially medical marijuana, medical cannabis, it's life or death stakes. Yeah, it's not Cheech and Chong hit the bong, ha ha ha, and you're a dick for just reducing it to that. It goes against what you would expect. While the stoner stereotype still exists, the pot aesthetic has expanded both in terms of its type of use, medicinal, recreational, and even within the recreational realm. Let's see. If you're looking back at the days of that sort of grimy head shop with glass bongs, that stuff still exists, but there's also a more upscale world, Kaplan says. As weed cannabis has become more accepted, it's not just the stoners anymore, Efren adds. He says there's a delivery to only one traditional stoner type. What? There's a delivery to only one traditional stoner type. If the first season of Mary plus Jane, we're seeing all kinds of characters and aesthetics all fall under the weed umbrella. All right. Not helping me with your writing at all. All right, we're a weed umbrella. Medical only marijuana is cannabis is already legal in about 20 states, with Canada's Liberal Party readying legislation to legalize recreational use of cannabis in 2017. Maybe not. What it sounds like they're getting ready to do is sell shitty, low-grade government weed to everybody and close down. I mean, the once great place weed cannabis mecca of Canada, they're trying to stomp it all out and actually turn it into just meh, you know. Their products are meh, you know. they're just gonna, sign up people with name brands and sell you, lawn clippings, basically. So Canada's legalization is not that. It's just like what they tried in one of the states. It's a monopoly, the government monopoly. Okay, in this relaxed atmosphere, it's not surprising that earlier this month, content company High Times, parent company of the magazine of the same name. Oh my gosh, that is. All right, well, I'll try to read this again. In this relaxed atmosphere, it's not surprising that earlier this month, content company High Times, parent company of the magazine of the same name, signed with UTA. Boy, that sentence is ugly, ugly. You abused me with that. Earlier this year, Sony Pictures. I mean, I've written some bad sentences too, but I don't expect people to freaking read it as the news, okay? Earlier this year, Sony Pictures TV tapped John Malkovich to star in a drama Humboldt about a town that subsists on the weed trade. I think we know where Humboldt is and what they do. And Netflix ordered Disjointed, a Chuck Lorre multicam sitcom starring Kathy Bates. That's a person's name I could remember. As a proprietor of a pot dispensary, cannabis dispensary for 2017. Cannabis has been legalized in many states, and frankly, there's a strong sense in California that it will be legalized this November as well, says Warner Brothers television group president Peter Roth. So the idea of pot dispensary is one that is of the moment. Is this how people talk in Hollywood? Is that why I don't understand? It's like what the specialized language crazy talk again. Can't people just purposely communicate with each other and not just throw in catchy phrases and stuff because that's part of their group? We don't know what you're talking about. We think you sound like a nut. Oh, move, you dumb page. Oh, this thing is HTML hell. Many network broadcasters and cable were interested in working with Laura Roth, says, but 18 years after the cheeky pot smoke filled basement of Fox's That 70s Show, Roth says, on an advertising based medium, it was difficult to embrace this particular concept. Oh, yeah. That's a fancy way for saying it wasn't ad friendly. Yeah, advertisers didn't like it. Advertisers that advertise pharmaceuticals to you. Yeah. And oil companies and everybody that is interested in not seeing this go forward. Yeah. That's what not advertising friendly means. You make our product look bad. We knew this was going to end up on cable or a streaming site. CEO Drake Sutton, sharer of digital platform, oh gosh, whatever it is, which launched in 2015, says that the company's mandate is for content and programming more mainstream, progressive, and entertaining than the wake and bake stereotypical stoner content. Yeah, I kind of take that as a direct insult. Yeah, after I had to read through this entire shitty fucking article with this bad fucking sentence fucking structure and shit and specialized language, then I come to fuck you if you're an independent pot, stoner filmmaker. Fuck you, you're just a loser stoner, and we in television produce content. You see where this is going? He's trying to help, but he's not helping. It really shows you how stupid they are. He's trying to help by saying it's not wake and bake like Cheech and Chong. But then not understanding that wake and bake is actually, it's like saying wake and medicate. Okay, for a lot of people, the wake and bake is you do it before work so that you can get through your day successfully at work because you're medicating. God. Okay, figure it out, guys. Everybody, you're talking so insultingly and you have no clue you're doing it. Your language is so insulting, and you are clueless that you are insulting the hell out of everybody. Okay. Stereotypical stoner content. All right, that's just, yeah, I agree with you, but for you to say it, it's really insulting. They are partners with the several OTT whatever platform, including Roku and Apple TV. I don't care programming, including cooking shows, Pot Pie featuring the herbal chef Chris Saya, and Get Loud, the Slink Johnson, the Adult Swim series Black Jesus. I love Black Jesus. I love that show. Bring it back. I love that. Okay, as a business, we help. Oh my God, this page will not hold still. We help cannabis brand markets themselves and help tell their stories, says Sultan Shearer. When we came to the industry, we said, holy shit, there's no voice for us for millennials, with about 91% of consumers who partake, but there's no place for them to go. You just realized that when you came into the space. I think everybody kind of realizes that. I love how these guys talk. Like, we came in and realized, oh my goodness, stoners don't have a voice. Yeah, genius. Boy, you're really, oh, nothing slips past you. Okay, prohibited in now meeting with, let's see, Propit or whatever, is now meeting with mainstream cablers and streaming services on content creation. It would be about finding the right content that fits the goals, he says Darren Roberts, CEO of MG Magazine, the business to business glossy. The majority of the public and I know that the perception is changing with legalization rolling across the country. The media is helping change that stigma. No, they're not. Media is doing the exact opposite of what you just said. Well, guys, sorry we had this misunderstanding, and thanks for introducing me to the cannabis. And, well, I guess we're friends now. I'll see you later. No, I'm kidding. That's not going to be the ending. See you later, Were Shark. Yeah, you're great, man. Nice to see you. Oh, fuck it, I'm gonna eat you anyway. Oh, it's gonna be fun. Okay. We'll stop screwing with that. Okay. Let's get someplace where it's not. Look how warpy it is when I move it. Okay, so that's my show. Sorry. I didn't put one up yesterday, but you could tell. And I still have, like I said, another kind of dungeon part to make here underneath this camp. So I got a little more cardboard stuff to make and everything, and my glue and scissors are ready. So you say hi and goodbye, and good luck to me.